Hey, aloha. Welcome. It's Tuesday, 26th of September. It's pretty nuts. Uh, Fantasy football heating up. We got some IR issues in my work league, $300 league with 12 people. Apparently, people are stashing cute questionables in the IR. To me, ESPN shouldn't let that happen. We shouldn't have to babysit or look at everybody's teams. I'm in 6 leagues. I can't be looking at 65 teams. I got this show to do. I got waivers. I got trades. So stuff's getting a little weird. Big day today. Tuesday's show. That's what he said. Putting myself, my predictions, my picks up against some of the pundits. I got Cowherd, Blazing 5. I got Nick Wright's 3. Uncle Richie's 4-pack. By the way, this is Uncle Richie coming at you live every single day, just past high noon, running a little late today, and that's okay. A lot of stuff to get done. It's putting all my time into this and effort, and I love it. That's what he said today. We're looking hard at the Fantasy Live crew. They did a little better. A couple things they did a little better on. We got me against the coin toss, JFK and Emalani, and Colin and Nick Wright. Under the hood, nothing too egregious through 3 weeks. Nothing sneaky at Vegas. Hasn't really raised its ugly head yet. So we're going to keep that on the back burner. You know it's coming. You know there's going to be the one where there's $2.8 million riding on one side and they overturn a call. Upon further review, the call is overturned. It's incomplete for Vegas. So we're back burner under the hood. Got my fantasy studs and duds and the waiver wire for this week. Got how turnovers and penalties equate to wins and losses and home field advantage straight up and versus the spread. Some of this is going to surprise you. Surprised me. Then we're going to line up outside of the panic room and see who needs to go in. Who got to come out. Okay, sorry, it's dead air before moving. I didn't realize there was an IR issue. Just accepted a trade. Okay, well, can cancel if need. I got shit going on, people. I got stuff going on. Okay, I was trying to trade for AR5. You don't need to hear all this. Let's get going. The Spirit of Sports, brought to you by Notpods.com, coming soon. I keep saying that, and who knows what soon is. It's going to take even more of my time. And my YouTube channel at Notpods, one word, Notpods, because as much as this looks like a podcast, this is live internet sports talk radio. Down the road, you might not be able to get my streams. Down the road, it might be a black screen. But for now, I think that this is the way to go. That's what he said. What do we want to look at first? Let's look at Uncle Richie versus Emalani versus JFK. Flip a coin. I have a $50. That's my JFK. So JFK flips a coin, heads is home, tails is visitor every week. Emalani, I just ask her the teams, and I, kind of switch up, not always just visitor home. because she a lot of times just takes a second team. So I'll tell her 3 or 4 different ways. Emalani, and then me. Me versus a spread, me straight up. JFK versus a spread, JFK straight up, and Emalani just straight up. This week, JFK goes 7-9, so he's 2 games under 500. This is the coin toss. 6-9-1 versus the spread this week. Emalani, 11-5 this week after going 10-22 the previous 2 weeks. So she's pushing like 21-27. But got a little better this week. Uncle Richie, we should have been in Vegas, people. 13-3 straight up and 13-3 versus the spread this week. And I do my show on Thursday, so there's no denying. I'm not just writing this stuff down saying, hey, I did pretty good. I give you these picks on Thursday from the numbers that I get on Tuesday or Wednesday. Usually Tuesday night I do my picks. So these are Tuesday night, Wednesday morning numbers that I give you on Thursday that if I was gambling, I would have locked them in on Tuesday night or Wednesday. And I keep those numbers. I don't go with the new numbers. Whatever numbers I have on Tuesday, that's my picks on Thursday, and that's what I go by. So I'm 13-3. Against the spread, I'm 11-5 week 1, 10-4-2 in week 2, 13-3 in week 3. That's 34-12. That's 24. That's $2,000 you're up if you're betting $100 a game. And if you had some parlays out of here, wow. So I think I'm going to start doing a couple parlays a week with my boy Eric. Hopefully he'll be here. Hopefully tomorrow, talk story with Uncle Richie, trying to drum up some people. This is the Spirit of Sports on Notpods. At Notpods on my YouTube channel. I'm live here in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, high noon or thereabouts, every single day, 7 days a week, coming at you live, putting in the effort. Uncle Richie. So 13-3 this week versus the spread. Straight up, I actually won my 27-person pick'em pool, $260. Thank you very much. Had the lowest total, 13-3. So that feels good. It's been about 4 years since I won a week, and legitimizes what I'm doing here, that I can actually tell you guys, and it's getting to be where you probably can take some of this to the bank. Moving on. So that's the JFK versus Uncle Richie versus Emalani. Nick Wright does 3 picks a week. Colin Cowherd does his Blazing 5, so I do an Uncle Richie 4-pack. This week I was 2-2. Cowherd was 0-9-1. He pulled it together this week, 3-1-1. And Nick Wright, after going 0-4-1, went 3-0. So he's 4-4-1 for the season. I'm 7-4-1 on my 4-pack. And the Cowherd, 3-10-2. So these are the guys that have syndicated shows and millions of viewers trying to get better. Need to get better. That's what he said. One of my favorite segments, the Spirit of Sports. We're talking sports. We're talking life. Let's get to the Fantasy Live crew. Week 1, 28%. They only gave advice on 54 guys in 3 shows. They do 3 shows a week. That's 120 minutes. Let's say 50, like 2 minutes per guy. Week 2, talked about 57 guys, 20 right, 37 bad information, 35%. Now, maybe the producers have been listening to Uncle Richie, because I've been pounding the table on this, is why are you wasting so much time? The Fantasy Live crew, Adam Rank, Cynthia Freeland, Michael Florio, all those. I was going to separate Cynthia, but she's just not on enough. And it seemed like she was the main spokesperson, but I'm just doing the crew as a total now. But I have been complaining to myself for years and out loud on this platform. I've been complaining that why are we talking about 55 or 60 guys in a week when we could talk 200-300? You could talk 3 or 4 guys a minute instead of telling about standing in line at the grocery store with your wife and some dumb joke, and start and sit and you do 3 guys, or the hype train running down the street all the way from Tokyo to Texas. You know, the hype train could be, what do you think of this guy? Oh, hype on. What do you think of this guy? Down. This guy up, down, up, down, up, 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 down. Instead, they do 3 guys and just all the way across. And if you don't believe it, it's fine. But this guy is the kind. It just makes no sense, bro. So they did quite a bit better. They talked about 137 players. So pretty much double, almost tripled the amount. And they actually did better too. 47%, 65 of the advice worked out on the positive, 72 negative. 47% Fantasy Live Crew in week 3. Much better than 28 week 1, 35% in week 2. So if you listen to them in week 3 and maybe you're middle of the pack and wondering, a little better. For the year, 40.3%. They've had 100 predictions that go positive and 148 negative. That's not 43%. That's not 43%. Let me check it. Trusty calculator here. Trusty calculator. That's 100 divided by 248 equals, yep, I guess so. 40%, I guess so. Yeah, because 100 and 200 wrong. Yep, that makes sense. Okay. So on the season, Fantasy Live Crew, 40%. Let's see some of their studs and dud picks. Number 1 running back, Bijan Robinson. Kieran Williams. Number 1 quarterback, Burrow. Number 1 receiver, CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans. Let's see, Pickens good. Spicy waiver wire pickup, Zach Ertz. El Diablo, Craig Reynolds, terrible call. Zach Moss down from last week. Nico Collins good again, that's a good one. It's a lot. This is the work I do for you guys. If you just want to check that out. These are my notes every day, and I just take their predictions. And then we see how they did. So you can say, do I really want to listen to these guys? And they're at 40.3% on the season. So how is that going to be? Any Brock Purdy over Daniel Jones? Sure. Don't start Breda? Sure. Jalen Hyatt, sleeper? No. Sit James Conner? Bad. Must start Brian Robinson Jr.? That's not great. Start Kieran Williams? Obviously, no. Khalil Herbert? Start. Trending up? No. Tutu did pretty good. Waller trending up? No. So you won't do me again. Bounce back. Hurts, Jacobs, and A.J. Brown. For sure, A.J. Brown. Jacobs and Hurts. Or Hurst. Yeah, not great. Tua over Dak, sure. P. Ryan, waiver wire. Tank Dell and Jaden Reed, they worked out. So that's about it. Way to get better. I've been bitching at you. Get better. You guys are getting better. Fantasy Live Crew. You know, when I get the time, I'm going to work on some Fantasy Focus as well. They're on ESPN. Matthew Berry, he's got his own show. But as you can see, you look at my futures bets. That's what he said coming up. And I think that's about wraps it up for That's What He Said. I'm holding my own pretty good. We'll get into fantasy studs and duds shortly. I do want to talk about, this is kind of surprising. I like to look at the turnovers and penalties correlation to winning. So if you win the turnover battle, you turn the ball over less. You have less penalties. I would think that both of those would be huge in your win-loss. Now I'm going to tell you, turnovers, it works out. Week 1, the team that won the turnover battle, 10 wins. There was 3 evens and only 3 teams that lost the turnover battle won. So you value the ball, you win games. I think 11 or 12 had 0 turnovers. Only 2, I think there's only 4 teams with 0 turnovers that have lost a game this season. So 10-3-3 when you win the turnover battle in week 1, 11-3-2 in week 2, 8-4-4 in week 3. So value the ball, hold on to the ball, don't turn the ball over, force turnovers, and you win in the NFL. Pretty much about 75% of the time. And everybody knows it and everybody preaches it, but you got to live it, know it, live it, love it. Now, this one surprises me. The penalty battle. In week 1, if you had less penalties, the team with less penalties was 7, 5, and 4. But in week 2, 11 teams that won the game had more penalties. Only 4 winning teams had less penalties. There was 1 game with even amount. Week 3, 7, 8, and 1. So penalties, as much as we think that they're critical, teams are well under 500 when they win the penalty game. So turnovers huge, penalties maybe not so much. Yeah, they're 18, 24, and 6 is the team that has less penalties. 29, 10, and 9 if you have less turnovers. Home field advantage. This is kind of amazing too. Straight up, week 1, home teams were 6 and 10, 7 and 9 in week 2 straight up, and 9 and 7 in week 3. But against a spread, the home team 5 and 11 week 1, 7, 6, and 3 in week 2, and 8 and 8. So the home team against the spread is 20, 25, and 3. I believe that there were 9 or 10 home dogs, and I think that the sharps really like to bet home dogs. They're like 3 and 9, I believe, home underdogs with the spread. So home field advantage, 22 and 26 straight up. I always thought it was worth 2-3 points, and maybe 75% of teams won. I haven't looked into past years. But I'm going to tell you, so far this year, home field's not everything that it's cracked up to be, usually. So that's something I'm going to keep track of all year. Turnovers, penalties, correlation, and home field advantage, which so far, not a whole lot. Got some fantasy studs and duds from week 3. Pick 1 or 2 from every game. Fantasy studs week 3, Brock Purdy, 310, 2 touchdowns. CMC, 85 rushing yards, 5 catches and a touchdown. Amari Cooper, 7 for 16 and a TD. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 102 yards on 9 catches. Sam Laporta, 8 catches, 84 yards and a touchdown. Chris Olave, 104 yards on 8 catches. Devin Achane, 18 rushes, 203 yards, and 4 total TDs. And I have him in one league, and I dropped him in a league last week. Didn't see that coming. And I know can't keep it up, but I think the guy's going to get some run. They score 70 points. Unbelievable. Mostert, 4 total touchdowns. So your running backs had 8 touchdowns in one game. That's a season for 2 guys. Tua, 309, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Justin Herbert, 405 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He hasn't turned the ball over yet, I don't believe. Keenan Allen, 18 catches, 215 yards, and a pass touchdown. And on 4th and 1, don't tell me I heard Sanchez had 89% on analytics, says if you go for it on 4th and 1. Bull crap. Analytics don't mean crap when it's a situational game. That's cool if you're in a box. I don't buy it. 4th and 1, and you give it straight up the gut to your fullback when you could do a slant or an out or a curl or a dig route with a guy that has 18 catches. Don't give me that 89% crap. You're at the 24, you punt the ball, and you make them score a touchdown with no timeouts left. Stupid. I mean, if you get it, okay, but I still think it's stupid. Kirk Cousins, 367 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. I believe he's the number 1 scoring leader in fantasy football quarterback, which is nuts. His running mate, JJ, Justin Jefferson, 7 catches, 149 yards, and a touchdown. That's just what he does. Diggs, I thought it'd be a down year, 8 catches, 111 yards. Tank Dell, 5 catches, 145 yards, and a touchdown, making the most of his catches. Zach Moss, 30 rushes, 122 yards. Lamar Jackson, 202 yards passing, but 14 rushes, 101 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Andy Dalton threw the ball a whopping 58 times. Why? On the road, 9 false start penalties. You're throwing the ball 58 times. 361 yards, no picks, 2 touchdowns, but mind-boggling. Thielen caught 11 of those balls, 145 yards, and a touchdown. Tony Pollard, 23 carries, 122 yards, and a loss. Jimmy G, 324 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he's also in my duds with 3 interceptions. Devontae Adams, I don't got time to wait around, for 13 catches, 172 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So that's the fantasy studs from week 3. Fantasy duds, New York Giants, 150 total yards, so anybody. Tennessee Titans, 94 total yards. Derrick Henry, 11 carries for 20 yards. That's a dud. Bijan Robinson, 10 carries, 33 yards. Give him the ball more. What does Arthur Smith have against fantasy football? Pitts, Bijan Robinson, give him the frickin' ball. Don't be a dumbass. What do you think drives your economy? What do you think we're here for? It's not so much to root for your favorite team anymore. It's fantasy football and gambling. Don't go on and just say, I don't even like fantasy football. I'm not. So you're going to change your game plan just to spite us, that pay your bills? Are you kidding me? Arthur Smith. Derek Carr, 13 for 18, 103 yards and a touchdown. AC joint sprain. It's going to be Jameis for a few weeks. Ugh. Javonte Williams, another stinker, 11 carries, 42 yards. Breece Hall gets the ball 12 times for 18 yards. His very first run was 26 yards. He had an 80-yard run, and he's touched the ball like 20 times since. That was in week 1. Sam Howell, 170 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 4 picks. Another, why are you throwing the ball? Set, hut, set, hut, set, hut, set, hut, sprinter stance, 3-point stance, on the ball, your hand touches the grass, set, hut, you're blowing off the ball. 5 offensive linemen like a blocking sled. Calvin Ridley, 3 catches for 40 yards. They look dismal. What's up in Jacksonville? Mark Andrews, 4 catches, 35 yards. Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba combined 4 catches for 34 yards. Justin Fields, 11 for 22, 99 yards passing. 1 touchdown, 1 pick. CeeDee Lamb, 4 for 53. And as I said, Jimmy G, 3 INTs. Those are my fantasy studs and duds for week 3. Hope you had the studs and hope you can get rid of it. Actually, some of the duds will be fine. Waiver wire, A-Chain is rostered in only 40%. Everybody will be all over him. Tank Dell, 30%. Get on him. Matt Breida, I don't buy it. I don't want him. 26% only rostered, so I'm sure people will be on. Marvin Mims, 9%. Joshua Palmer he's only rostered in 1% of leagues. Is that even possible? Got Downs for Indy. Josh Dobbs is still available in 70% of leagues. Sam Laporta, it says, and 68% available. I don't buy that. Luke Musgrave, CJ Stroud available in quite a bit of leagues. So that's some waiver wire pickups for week 3. Did the home and home. Do you hear outside? Ah, ah, ah. It's panic room time. That, you know, in the future, I'm going to have all the sound bites. I'm going to have the music, sports rock radio, where I played just an underlying of music the whole time. Once I get, you know, a studio technician, someone to sit here with me when I can pay him when I make the money. So that's coming. Imagine that. But panic room. There's a room over there. It's that night where the cops take off and everything's legal. And who has to go in that panic room? And who was there last week? Let's look into that. A little bit of dead air here. Panic room. I'm not even sure who was in last week, but we're going to start week 4. Let's just some NFL team by team. Who's going in the panic room to get away from the marauders that are outside the door? Just outside that door. Who's not walking in? Cardinals, firmly not in the panic room. Falcons, I think you're okay. Didn't look great, but I think you're okay. Ravens, you're okay. Bills, no. Carolina Panthers, 0-3, yeah. Carolina Panthers. I think pack your bag and grab your can opener. Panic room. I think you were there last year. Oh my goodness, the Bears have been camped in there. Bears are just camping out. I don't even know if they come out to play the game. 100% Bears in the panic room. ×3. Carolina, I think I didn't have them in last week. Bengals, you're okay. Got that big win against the Rams last night. If not for that, firmly. Cleveland, Dallas Cowboys lost Diggs, 2-1, lost to the Cardinals. It's not panic room time yet. Oh my goodness. Denver Broncos ×3. Actually, nobody was in the panic room week 1 because optimism reigns in week 1. After Denver's been living in the panic room with the Bears. Lions, no need. Packers, you're fine. Houston Texans, really like their culture and what they're doing. Defensive coach, but has an offense going. Got his first win. Looked really good doing it. Texas and Colts, I'm really, really impressed. Well, Jaguars are 1-2 after losses to KC and Houston. You know what? Jacksonville, you lost to Houston. Get in there. But this is only day 1. Get in for tonight. Come back out tomorrow ready to play. Chicago and Denver, you can just hide in there. Carolina, you're only ×1. You can come back out tomorrow. Chiefs, nah. Oh, the Raiders. Oh, the Raiders. You know, you got pounded by Buffalo. I think I did put you in there. So you're 2 weeks in a row. You beat Denver. You're not winning 5 or 6 games. Jimmy G's going to be out. Yeah. Who's your backup quarterback? Oh, yeah, Hoyer. And then the rookie, Aiden O'Connell. Vegas, get in. Chargers, you escaped it. Chargers, you're a mess, though. I should almost send you in there just as a timeout. Rams 1-2. That offense not looking good. They're at Indy, home for Philly, Arizona. You know what, Rams? I'm going to give you a break. You're standing in line, Rams. Dolphins, you're going to go Maraud. Vikings definitely in. It's your second week in, Minnesota Vikings. 0-3. Lots of Tampa, Philly, and the Chargers. All 1-score games. Funny how you go 11-0 one year on 1-score games, and then you start out 0-3. The numbers always work out. Minnesota, second week, definitely. New England Patriots got your first win, albeit it's against Zach Wilson, but we'll leave you out. You'll be okay. Saints should be 3-0. You're fine. Beat Tennessee and Carolina. I don't like giving up a 17-point lead. Run the ball. What was it? 12 passes to 4 runs in the fourth quarter. You had a couple 3-and-outs where you only took 40 seconds off the clock because you had 2 incompletions. Makes no sense. So you're fine. Giants, Jets definitely in. Giants, Dallas, and your 2 losses are 2. We'll give you this week. Giants, you can stand outside. You're in line though. Jets, you're in for second week in a row. Eagles, no way. Steelers, you're good. Niners, best team in the league. Seahawks, 2-1, you're fine. Tampa Bay, 2-1, but I think the real Tampa Bay showed up, and I believe in a couple weeks to panic room. Commanders, 2-1, but we'll keep you out one more week. So 7 teams locked in the panic room as the laws are just put aside for a night and the marauders are outside the door. Carolina, first week in the panic room. The Bears and Denver have been in for 3 weeks straight. I'm not sure they even come out to play. Jacksonville, I got you in there. 1-2. We got Minnesota, 2 weeks in a row. 0-3. We got the Jets, 2 weeks in a row. 0-3, bro. Yep. So 7 teams in the panic room. 2 of them probably won't even show up next week. Chicago and Denver I have 0 faith in. Who they got? I'm nervous. Week 4. Chicago and Denver. Denver. Oh, they got each other. Oh my goodness. You guys got to come out of the panic room. Come out to play. Yay. Bears, Broncos, come out and play. Yay. I need my bottles. The Warriors, great movie. Panic room. That's what he said. Under the hood, we're backburnering. Fantasy studs and duds and waiver wire. And my turnovers, penalties, and home field advantage. That's been the show. That's a wrap. This is Tuesday, week 4, kicking into gear. My over-under picks for the season, my 5-star pick, Zona under 4.5, not looking great. Houston and Raiders under 6.5. I'll take the Raiders still. Houston might win 7. My 3-star picks, Carolina under 7.5, Rams under 6.5, Tampa under 6.5. So we'll see. It's early. That's what's happening. I'm going to say something. I mentioned it, and I haven't gotten any feedback or pushback because nobody watches. But this could be something that I maybe want to stir a wasp's nest. And, I'm not sexist. I will have a woman control my life as a girlfriend for years. I'll have a woman president, my boss, CEO, sideline reporter, locker room reporter, even color play, ESPN anchor woman. I have not nary an issue, all the sports shows. Once in a while, if you put like 3 or 4 that never played, but please, NFL, NBA, Doris Burke, whoever was on that indie game, please, can we have one sacred spot for us men? I don't want to hear first down and there's a catch and it's complete. And I'm sorry. And if it comes off that way, then so be it. You can be the president of the United States. You can run the world. I don't want you calling my game play-by-play person on my game. And I know I'm not the only one. So if it offends some people, come at me. If you got to If your wife's going to ask you, is that how you feel too? Tell the truth. I want to know. This is something, maybe this is something that brings me my notoriety and my recognition until I start getting major sports and Hollywood players to interview. Maybe this is it, but I'm sorry, but I'm anti-soccer. I'm anti-American soccer, and I'm anti-women play-by-play broadcasters. Other than that, and I am trying to work on a higher consciousness, and this shouldn't bug me, but as I was going through and I flipped through, I have all 9 games, because you have to put 9 games on at once and expect us to follow 9 games at once. Thanks a lot, NFL, to force feed your commercials down our throats in the late afternoon window. I'm still pushing mute. I'm still going to get a sandwich. I'm not watching your commercials. Nobody is. I know they're a necessary evil, and that's what pays to have the games on. Let them pay. Don't force it down our throat. But as I was skipping through those 9 games, every time I got to the Indy Baltimore game, it was nails on the chalkboard, and just, I can't stay here. I'm sorry. And there's a pass, and it's broken up by Evans. What up? You had a nice play. I'm sorry. If you don't like it, come at me, but I know I'm not alone. I could get 5 guys on the phone right now that will say you're absolutely correct. And I bet I could get 50 million men, sports fans. Give us one sacred area. Love yourself, people. I'm doing my best to love myself more and more. Forgive. Love everybody. Unconditional. Be a better person. Embrace the world. Embrace the Beavers. Embrace golf. I love you all. Thank you so much. And I'll be back tomorrow. Hui ho. Oh, tomorrow we're hopefully trying to get someone in here for Talk Story with Uncle Richie tomorrow. And if not, we'll just talk NFL, maybe a little college, maybe a little baseball. So tomorrow, Uncle Richie, Talk Story with Uncle Richie. If not, we'll be talking story. The Spirit of Sports, brought to you by Notpods, YouTube TV at Notpods. Uncle Richie signing off. Ahui ho.